Okay guys, are you ready for this? We are gonna do meatloaf and garlic mashed potatoes in the same pot. Yes, that's right. Like one pot, a complete meal. Don't have to wash anything with the pot. And of course your measuring cups. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to add 1 cup of chicken broth for your potatoes. We're gonna go ahead and pour that in. And I have 3 pounds of potatoes already quartered, and I'm just going to pour those into the pot. I didn't take off any of the skin. You can if you want to. It's just your preference. Next, you're supposed to add your 2 whole garlic cloves, but we love using this minced garlic, so I'm going to add about a teaspoon of that to the potatoes. Just scatter it in there. And that's it for the potatoes for now. Okay, and not until after we're done cooking. I'm gonna place my trivet down on top of the potatoes, just like that. Now for the meatloaf portion. I'm gonna use about 2 pounds of ground beef. This is my 80-20 ground beef. And then I'm gonna add 2/3 cup of panko breadcrumbs. Now I've used Ritz crackers as well. It's just whatever you have laying around that's close to that. Alright, then I'm going to add my 2 eggs and 1/3 of a cup of diced onions. Okay, and then I'm going to use my garlic again. And again, I have my minced garlic already. This stuff comes in handy. Every time we want to add garlic to something, it's already minced. We have a huge jar of it. And I usually always add a tablespoon because we just love the garlic. I mean a teaspoon, not a tablespoon. Okay, then I've got a mixture of all the spices. I have let's say 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley, 1 teaspoon dried basil, 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground thyme, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 a teaspoon of pepper. Okay, I'm gonna add that into my meatloaf. Right, then I've got my handy dandy measuring spoons here. If you're wondering why I'm wearing gloves, I'll show you in just a minute. Okay, so we're going to add to this a tablespoon of Worcestershire, or however you want to say it. Worcestershire. Worcestershire. Okay. Alright, then we're going to use some low sodium soy sauce. We're going to use another tablespoon of that. And we're ready to go. And this is why I'm wearing gloves. Okay, now I'm just going to mix it by hand. This is the fun part. Get everything combined. Your eggs, your breadcrumbs, your seasonings, onions, Worcestershire, soy sauce. It's all going to be combined. So it gets all throughout there. I'm using a cookie dough bowl here. This is what I usually do my cookies in, but I haven't done cookies in a really long time, so this has become my meatloaf bowl. It's easy to mix, doesn't come over the sides when you're trying to mix it. Okay. Alright, so when you get all the ingredients incorporated throughout, then you're going to fix a mold for this. Now, some people have pans that are the correct size for this. I do not. So, I'll show you what I do. Okay, so I use a Pyrex. This is, just like a little half a loaf cake pan. And I just put my meat in that. And then that creates my mold for the meatloaf. And then when I take it out, I just use the tin foil here aluminum foil as my mold. Okay, now when you get that in there, you're going to want to create a 1/2 inch dip in the middle. This is where you're going to put your ketchup and sauces in there for the finishing touches. So create a nice like 1/2 inch burro. Okay, then you're going to fold it up all the corners of the sides. You're going to add it to the top of your potatoes. Since that did not cover all the way, I'm going to have another piece of aluminum foil that I use because I want to keep all the moisture in. Okay. Alright, so at this point, you just stick it on top of your potatoes. Now place your meatloaf on top of your potatoes, on top of the trivet, like so. Now for the cook time. So we're just going to cover it. Alright, make sure that it is set to sealing. It is. And then we're going to go to manual again. I always use the manual setting for this. And you're going to go to 24 minutes. Oh, okay. And when that comes up to pressure, again, just make sure it's set to sealing. You're going to wait 10 minutes for a natural release. So what that means is when your beeping starts, you know, it says it's done, then you're going to continue to keep this sealed, and then when it gets to 10 minutes on the keep warm, you're going to flip to our fast or quick release. So while that is cooking, we are going to make our topping for the meatloaf. You're going to add 3 tablespoons of ketchup. Whenever I think meatloaf, I think ketchup. I don't know about you. So we're going to do 3 tablespoons of that. Then we're going to do 1 tablespoon of mustard. Let's see if I got enough. Might have to go to my other one. Let's see. There's about a tablespoon. Okay, because we're going to sweeten it up in a minute, so you want that mustard for that tanginess. Okay, now we're going to add our brown sugar. I'm going to do a tablespoon. You can do a little bit less. I just like it because it gives it that nice caramelized glaze when we put it in the oven. Yes, we're actually going to use the oven today. It's amazing. Okay, and then I'm going to use just a pinch of cinnamon. And that'll be our topping for our meatloaf. I'm just going to put it in that 1.5 inch burro, whatever you want to call it, that we created so that we have a little bit of sauce on top. Okay, it bothered me why I kept saying burrow, so I just had to look it up. So a hole or tunnel, maybe I'm just thinking tunnel, dug by a small animal. So I don't know why I keep calling it a burrow. I don't know, I just think of tunnel when I look at it. So it's not actually a burrow. But this is on her Facebook page, so it's okay for me to post this. And this is a really awesome recipe, so if you need it, just let me know. It's just now come up to pressure, so that took a little while, especially with 3 pounds of potatoes and 2 pounds of ground beef. So now essentially it's going to cook for 34 minutes or longer. You got to make sure meat comes up to 155 degrees. And so let's just go do something else. Enjoy a candle and some fall decor. Or have a nice relaxing evening in your front porch. And no evening would be complete without. Okay, we're almost at the 10-minute mark for the natural release. You can hear my cat in the background. So there's the 10 minutes. So we're flipping to venting. While we're doing that, we're going to go ahead and broil. We're going to get ready to put the meatloaf in the oven so that we get nice caramelized topping. Okay, so we're going to check it before to make sure. I usually let it go a little while longer, but we're going to set our meat thermometer at 155 just to make sure that it's done. If it's not, you put it in for another 2 to 3 minutes. I can turn this off now. Again, you want to wait till the pin drops. Let's see if we can hear it. There it is. Okay. We're going to check our meat and see if it's up to temperature. Okay, and we're just checking to make sure. And we are good to go. So at this point, just start putting in your glaze that you're going to caramelize on top. And if my half an inch, I don't know what to call it. I'm not going to call it a burro, but impression. Anyways, if it's not there, just put it on top, and you'll still get a nice topping, a nice caramelized topping. Okay, so there's our topping. Okay, so now we're going to put it in the oven, and we're just going to let it come to roll. And you have to watch it closely. You do not want it to burn. Okay, so we want it to stay in the broil mode until it's bubbly and brown. And it is. So now we're just going to set it out for about 10 minutes. And while that is resting, we're going to start on our potatoes. Starting with the potatoes, we're going to take out the trivet. And we're going to do 2 tablespoons of butter. And then I'm going to add 3 to 6 tablespoons of either whipping cream or milk. Just depends. You can also add, on top of this, you could add 1/4 of a cup of sour cream if you wanted to. So I'm going to start with 3 tablespoons of whipping cream just to see how thin or thick it makes it. Okay, now I'm just going to mash all of this in with a potato masher. You can use fork or whatever you want to use. I just happen to have this here on hand. And just mash it up completely. You want mashed potatoes. Incorporate all that butter and whipping cream. And if it's too thick for you, you can add a little bit more, or you can add some milk or sour cream. Okay, well, it's pretty good. And now I'm going to add some salt and pepper to taste. So I'm going to add my pepper. And that's 3 pounds of potatoes, so I'm going to add a little bit more than I usually do. And our salt. Same thing. Potatoes absorb salt. I'm going to add a lot of that from my grinder. And of course, you can always add more, to taste. So, always good to add more later than to add too much right off the bat. Okay, and that's our mashed potatoes. Okay, I added a little bit more salt, just so you know. Now for a magic trick, we're going to do our green beans, not in an Instant Pot. Poke some holes. We're going to put them in the microwave for 3 to 4 minutes.